Pritchard, your guy Bobby. I want you to speak on Pritchard a little bit too, because obviously, it's easier to speak about Tatum and Brown, but as someone who's been on the Pritchard train from the jump, once again, never wavered. Speak to what he's been doing this early season, just with the leap that he's taken.
Well, yeah,
After winning the
man. I mean,
championship.
you look at Pritchard, especially that last game when he have 8 threes. This dude he's averages 16
Crazy.
points a game now. So to see him take this leap this year has been something that, I personally have been seeing coming from the very beginning. And he's just, you know what I mean? His efficiency rating is through the roof. Um, I mean, it is what it is, man. Peyton Pritchard. I got nothing else to say. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's important to have a spot up jump shooter in the system that we implement. A guy who has very specific roles. The Celtics have a pretty firm identity now compared to obviously the building process. I mean, that's how it's going to be. But if you're accusing the Celtics of just being a team that just chucks up threes, I just don't think you understand what you're watching, because the spacing that we get, we manufacture. How long everybody is, how fast everybody is, and how everybody moves. Everyone seems to chuck up an up fake before they dribble into the key. Like, everyone seems to do it now, and it just seems like an instruction, because we're such a good shooting team. The logic makes sense. We're such a good shooting team that they always have to basically guard our shooters, right? So now we've started to see so much space open up. And if you're a guy like Payton Pritchard, I mean, yeah, he made 8 threes. He was alone for the majority
24,
of
25
those
footers.
Like, he was on his own. Yeah. Yeah. Like, completely on an island. And it serves to speak to the depth of the team from a shooting perspective. But I think it also really serves to illustrate how we're able to move the ball, how we're able to space the floor. I mean, Al Horford, he might as well be 27 out there, the way he moves around and the way you have to go with him everywhere. The fact that there's every time you make one more pass on this team, the next man up can still shoot. And he can still shoot a three. So if it starts with Tatum and it goes to Brown and it goes to Holiday and it goes to Horford and then it goes to Pritchard and all 5 guys touch the ball, every single one of those guys can shoot. So you at the very least have to adjust for that defensively, right? You can't just like leave guys on their own. So what happens is, I think, from what I'm watching in my own simple brain, you watch them just run and run and run and run until the 4th pass or the 5th pass of the half court series goes to a wide open guy. It does cause frustration for sometimes we are missing wide open 3-point shots, but still, I mean, you can't really complain about the volume that are going in. And Pritchard's been the best 3-point shooter statistically, 3rd best 3-point shooter statistically out of his draft class since he was drafted, with a minimum number of 3-point shots put up, obviously. So he's always been a good shooter. My worries with him were always about his size. Thankfully, a team we're locked in going up against probably in the playoffs is the Knicks. And I think you've seen that their backcourt doesn't pose us a ton of problems size-wise. And also, everybody else is huge. Like, everybody else is big for their position. Even Drew Holiday is like bulky for his position, right? Like, he's filled out for his position. So I think we're fine as far as size goes. I just did get worried when like Jimmy Butler was just like torturing Payton Pritchard 2.5 years ago now, down in Miami. Just like every time he was on the court, like Butler was like, I'm feasting on this guy. But offensively, if we keep moving the ball at that speed, I think he's got a lot to offer. He seems like his basketball IQ is going up too. Like, he shoots the correct shots. And again, he has been wide open for a shitload of them, but also he's moving the ball really well, and he's playing really well with Tatum and Brown. So yeah, I have no more complaints about Payton Pritchard. I still do worry about him in certain playoff defensive
We can
matchups,
hide
but
him
that's
so
a
well,
long way
though.
away.
That's the thing. It's like,
We did a good job of that, especially in the finals. We did a really good job of that because having Kyrie guard him or go up against him isn't the end of the world size-wise. Like, you're kind of living with what you get, right? Or same with Brunson. It's like, all right, well, a lot of guys are going to probably cook him. If the switch happens, it happens. It's not as annoying as when Horford gets switched to a guy at the perimeter and we don't do anything about it. So it's fine. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
It's like,
but even with that,
when you have Derek White and Drew Holiday as your 2 defensive guards, it's a lot easier to hide someone like Payton Pritchard. You know what I mean? It's especially
Yeah.
But
Yeah. He also adds so much speed, I think, to the
Yeah.
transition play that it can be worth it. It's starting to slowly kind of like tilt a little bit where his upside sort of is starting to outweigh his downside, which I guess is really perfect timing for a guy on his career trajectory, right? Like where he is. Also, he's kind of an underrated dribbler. I have to say, he does have a little bit of like white boy dribbles about him. Like he can kind of do a little behind the back stuff. You can tell he learned it like on his own in his driveway because like
Probably
whatever.
watched
But
it.
like,
You probably
you know what I
learned it
mean? It's like,
watching the
yeah, okay, you can
watching the
kind of do
professor
stuff.
back in the
You know,
day.
yeah, watching
You
fucking
learned
white
your
chocolate.
chocolate,
And
yeah.
like that's cool, you know?
I mean, no, I mean that's for sure. I mean, he's also from the Pacific Northwest, so it's like he's 25, 26, so and he's from Oregon, so he grew up watching Dame, right? He grew up watching Dame. So, and I think every time he plays Dame, he looks to go off, which is why we saw the other night. We had a couple of moments like that when Dame was still in Portland. So I
There's
think
some
that
serious flaws in
that's just what he does. But yeah, between him, like I said, houses look good. So yeah, like everybody has given something positive to this early start. So I'm excited to see how they get better as the season goes
I
on.
like when Pritchard and Hauser are out there at the same time. I call it the Leave It to Beaver lineup.
Okay.
It works. It
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. I mean, hey, they out there. It's real honest shooting.
Yeah. Right. Real high IQ. First guy in the gym. Fucking Luke Cornett. That thing he does where he jumps up straight in the air like 6 feet from guys still works.
Yeah.
just declaring that.
Yep,
the Luke Cornett force field.
Yep, the Cornett Cortez. Yep, exactly. So yeah, he's been great too. So
He
so
actually
yes,
looks a little bit better. I mean, I know we're doing that thing where we've like adjusted back from playoff basketball to regular season basketball. So we're like, whoa, remember Luke Cornett? But at the same time, like I'm less concerned 4 games in or 2 weeks in than I was last year about our bench depth. I also like Tillman, and I like I know we've made fun of him, but I like Downs as well. And I think we're okay. Honestly, I think we're okay down the stretch. I know you had a question about adding guys. I mean, I couldn't think of any like needs
yeah.
like right now, so
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we'll get into that in a little bit. Actually, no, we can stay there. Actually, so not necessarily adding guys. It was more so like because like Hauser just came back in tonight's game against Indiana. It just a real time update. It looks like that might be their first loss tonight. Indiana's currently up. I think I last checked it was 96 to 78. So, and that's the thing, right? People have been wondering like, oh, like what's the chink in the armor? Like, how are you going to beat the Celtics? You just have to hope that they're not making shots, and tonight they're not making shots. So Indiana is revved up, but they were revved up against them in the regular season last year. And then, because the big guy they missed last year that, people forgot about because he got injured early on was Benedict Mathurin. That brother can hoop. He's in that J.R. Smith, Jordan Clarkson type mode as far as the scorer. That brother can go. And, we were worried about Aaron Nemhart and some other guys, but Benedict Mathurin is someone who can really hoop. He's showing it tonight. I think he got 23 and counting right now off the bench. So, and that was supposed to be their advantage coming into that series last year, anyways. But they were missing some guys there. So,
Wait, did we lose Lonnie Walker?
Technically, because he was signed to an Exhibit 10 deal. So basically, yeah. So basically, it was just something where he was basically just getting a tryout because no other team had signed him. So
I would have kept him.
Right, but what happened was because he was on that type of deal, had they signed him to a standard deal, he would have got the veteran minimum, which is like 2.1 or 2.2, or 2.2 million, excuse me. That would have because the repeated tax would have been money wise. It would have cost them 6 or 7 million to even keep it. So they just wasn't going to do that at this moment, especially for a guy that may not play.
Yeah. I guess it's just that I just like his game.
Oh no, he did really well. He did really well in the preseason.
Couldn't we have sent him to the G League and then not gotten?
If he cleared the waivers, which I believe he did, and I don't think any team picked him up, he's able to go down to our G League affiliate, which is in Maine, and then they can bring him back up for games throughout the year. So I'm hoping that's the case, and I hope that he uses that showcase as a way to get back to the league full time because there's only 450 jobs, but he definitely is worth a spot on any roster. I just didn't want him going to another contender and then being, someone of good use to someone else instead of us. So yeah, so hopefully he gets out of the G League, gets a chance to play down
That
there
would be cool.
with Drew and those guys, and come back doing his thing.